years before his arrest. Lopez Rivera was one of the founders in Chicago of La Escuelita Puertorriqueña, now known as the Dr. Pedro Albizu Campos High School, and the Juan Antonio Correger Puerto Rican Cultural Center there. He was also involved in the struggle for bilingual education in public schools and to force universities to actively recruit Latino students, staff, and faculty. He worked on ending discrimination in public utilities. Oscar Lopez Rivera was also a community organizer for the Northwest Community Organization, the NCO, and the First Congregational Church of Chicago. He helped to found FREE, a halfway house for convicted drug addicts, and ALAS, ALAS, an educational program for Latino prisoners at Stateville Prison in Illinois. So back in Puerto Rico, in freedom, soon, Oscar Lopez Rivera will certainly be an inspiration, says Puerto Rican Rafael Cancel Miranda.
I'm not even get on party for independence because we are actually the colony. And he is an inspiration to the young people, and we all will need that same inspiration. You know, like Rivera is an inspiration to generations to come. We all will need that sense of person that inspires the young people.
Well, Radio Habana, Cuba joins in celebrating the return to Puerto Rico of independence actress Oscar Lopez Rivera. Cuba and Puerto Rico, two wings of a bird. To say it again, Ed, in the words of that well-known Puerto Rican poet and friend of Jose Marti, Lola Rodriguez de Tio. Now back to you.
Thanks, Jaco. Juan Jacomino with that report, a very wonderful report. Good news that Puerto Rican independence fighter, longtime political prisoner, Oscar Lopez Rivera, is finally back home in his native Puerto Rico. You tune to RHC, Radio Havana, Cuba. Time now for the sports report. Coming up next, it's Javier Gomez.
Thank you, Ed. Hi, sports fans. New rules have been announced for the upcoming World Baseball Classic. The team at bat will be halfway to the plate if any of the games of the next World Baseball Classic reaches the 11th inning. According to the changes of the tournament rules, in games that remain tied after 10 innings, each inning starting from the 11th will have runners on first and second base. In addition, teams may designate a dessert of 10 eligible pitchers to pitch in one or more consecutive rounds. Teams must use one or two players in the group of 10 on each roster, or else they will assign their right to use the reserve. The pitchers designated for that reserve who were entered on a roster and then discarded will not be able to compete in the rest of the tournament. During the first and second rounds, the video analyst will help the umpires in plays that will deal with possible home runs, hits that fall nearby the lines, or interference from some fans with the trajectory of the ball. The Major League Replays rule will judge in the final round. The fourth edition of this World Baseball Classic that will be held from 6th to 22nd in March will have 63 players who have been called to the Major League All-Star Game in every play roll of the 16 teams that will compete. Among those 63 players, there are 25 who played in the last edition of 2016. The Detroit Tigers will be the Major League team that most players will bring to the Classic, with 15.
Venezuelan Miguel Cabrera, who will be back with his country. The list presented by the current champions, the Dominican Republic, showed all its potential to be again the team to beat in the tournament, as well as Japan, that will seek to regain its reign in the World Baseball Classic, while the United States finally break the curse and achieve the desired title. The roster is plagued by professional Major League players and vets who were in the previous edition when they achieved the great triumph and broke the supremacy of Japan, who had won the first two editions and got a bronze medal in 2013. South Korea is also a silver medalist and bronze medalist in the World Baseball Classic. Cuba took the second place in the first edition 2006, and Venezuela has also a bronze that was reached in 2009. The city of Los Angeles will once again host the final this year at the Dodger Stadium. Dominican will return to have figures like Robinson Cano, Adrian Beltré, Nelson Cruz, and Jose Bautista in the heavy artillery. Whereas from the mound, they will work starters like Edison Volquez, Johnny Cueto, Carlos Martinez, Ivan Nova, and Bartolo Colon, among others. Puerto Rico, as a brand new Caribbean Series champion loaded with a mix of talent, youth, and vets, also comes with the possibilities of fighting for the title, as they did in 2013 when they lost the great final against the Dominican Republic. Venezuela and Mexico, with starter Adrian Gonzalez, will also be present, as Cuba, Japan, and South Korea will be fighting between the best, despite the fact that the Japanese team arrives without star opener Masahiro Tanaka. The right-hander from the New York Yankees has preferred not to risk any kind of injury in order to have the great season that everyone expects from him in the next year. And that's it for today, sports fan. We're looking forward to see you in the World Baseball Classic. Stay tuned in Radio Habana, Cuba.